What would you do if you discovered your wife of 15 years wasn't just cheating on you, but had been systematically draining your bank accounts to fund her affair? I'm about to tell you a story that will make your blood boil and then leave you absolutely satisfied. This is about Sarah, a woman who thought she was the smartest person in the room, until her husband Marcus showed her exactly how wrong she was. Trust me, you're going to want to hear every single detail of this revenge story. Let me paint you a picture of what seemed like the perfect marriage. Marcus Chen, 42, was a successful software engineer who worked remotely from their beautiful suburban home. Sarah, 38, was a real estate agent who claimed to be building her career back up after taking time off to raise their twin daughters, now 12 years old. From the outside, they had everything. The gorgeous house, the luxury cars, private school for the kids, annual family vacations to Europe. Marcus was the provider, working long hours to maintain their lifestyle, while Sarah handled the household and her growing real estate business. But here's what Marcus didn't know. Sarah hadn't sold a house in over 8 months. Those client meetings she was always rushing off to. Those weekend open houses that kept her away from family time. They weren't real estate appointments at all. For the past 10 months, Sarah had been having an affair with David Martinez, a divorced contractor she'd met at their neighbor's renovation project. And it wasn't just any affair. This was a full-blown second life she was living. While Marcus was upstairs in his home office, working 60-hour weeks to pay for their dream lifestyle, Sarah was downstairs, transferring money from their joint accounts to fund romantic getaways, expensive dinners, and even helping David pay his child support. Little did she know, her husband was about to discover everything. The first red flag came on a Tuesday morning in March. Marcus was reviewing their bank statements online when he noticed something odd. A $500 withdrawal from their savings account with a memo that read emergency car repair. Sarah's car. But here's the thing. Marcus had just paid for Sarah's BMW service the week before. He remembered because the bill was $1,200 and he'd used his credit card. Sarah, he called downstairs. Did you have more car trouble this week? Oh, that, she called back, not even looking up from her phone. Yeah, something with the transmission. Don't worry about it, honey. It's all handled. Marcus felt a knot form in his stomach. He'd been married to Sarah long enough to know when she was lying. She got this particular tone in her voice. Casual, almost dismissive, like she was brushing off something unimportant. Over the next few weeks, Marcus started paying closer attention. More mysterious withdrawals. $300 here, $150 there. Always with vague explanations when he asked. Client lunch, gas for showing houses, new business cards, and marketing materials. But then came the phone call that changed everything. It was a Friday afternoon, and Marcus was wrapping up a particularly stressful project deadline when Sarah's phone rang downstairs. She'd left it on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. The caller ID showed David M. with a heart emoji. Marcus stared at that phone, his heart pounding. He'd never heard Sarah mention anyone named David. Not once. When Sarah came downstairs 20 minutes later, towels still wrapped around her hair, Marcus casually mentioned, "Someone named David called. Left a voicemail?" The color drained from Sarah's face so quickly, Marcus thought she might faint. "Oh, that's probably just a client. David Morrison. He's looking at properties in the Riverside district." But her hands were shaking as she grabbed her phone, and she immediately walked into the other room to listen to the voicemail. That's when Marcus knew for certain his wife was having an affair. But instead of confronting her immediately, Marcus made a decision that would prove to be absolutely genius. He decided to investigate exactly how deep this betrayal went. What he discovered over the next month would shock you. Using his tech skills, Marcus started monitoring their joint accounts more carefully. He installed monitoring software on their home router to track internet usage. He even set up a small security camera in their home office, disguised as a decorative plant after Sarah started having private client calls in there. The evidence was devastating. Sarah was transferring money to David almost weekly. $200 for a romantic dinner at the Riverside Inn. $400 for a weekend getaway to a cabin in the mountains. $150 for lingerie that Marcus had never seen. She'd even used their joint credit card to book them a couple's massage at an expensive spa. But the worst part? The absolute worst part was what Marcus heard on one of those private client calls. "I can't wait until I can leave him," Sarah said, her voice filled with excitement. "Marcus has no idea about any of this. He's so buried in his work, he barely notices what I'm doing. And the best part? He's paying for everything. Our dates, our trips, even your rent last month when you were short." David's laughter came through clearly on the recording. "You're incredible, babe. How much longer do you think we need to keep this up? Just until the girls graduate. Then I'll file for divorce and take half of everything. Between his salary and the house equity, I'll be set for life. We'll be set for life." Marcus sat in his office, listening to this recording, and felt something he'd never experienced before. Not just heartbreak, but a cold, calculating anger. His wife wasn't just cheating on him. She was planning to destroy his life, take his children, and steal everything he'd worked for. All while using his own money to fund her affair. But Sarah had made one critical mistake. She'd underestimated exactly how smart her husband really was. Wait until you hear what Marcus did next. Here's where Marcus's revenge plan became absolutely brilliant. Instead of confronting Sarah immediately, Marcus started playing the long game. And remember, this is a software engineer we're talking about. Someone who thinks 10 steps ahead and plans for every possible outcome. First, Marcus quietly opened his own personal bank account and started redirecting his paychecks there. But he was clever about it. He still left enough money in their joint accounts to cover normal household expenses, so Sarah wouldn't get suspicious. Second, he began documenting everything. Every suspicious transaction, every mysterious phone call, every weekend showing houses that didn't exist. He was building an ironclad case for when the time came. But the most genius part of his plan, Marcus started giving Sarah exactly what she wanted. He began working even longer hours, staying in his office even later, acting completely oblivious to what was happening. To Sarah, it looked like her plan was working perfectly. Marcus seemed more distant, more buried in work, less interested in their marriage. What Sarah didn't realize was that Marcus was using those extra hours to consult with the best divorce attorney in the city. And then, Marcus discovered something that would make his revenge absolutely perfect. During one of his deep dives into their financial records, Marcus found something interesting. David, Sarah's boyfriend, had recently applied for a business loan to expand his contracting company. And guess who had co-signed for that loan without telling her husband? That's right! Sarah had forged Marcus's signature and used their house as collateral. This wasn't just adultery anymore. This was fraud. And Marcus had just found the perfect way to destroy both of them at once. The trap was set. Now it was time to spring it. Marcus waited until a Friday evening when he knew Sarah and David were planning one of their romantic weekends. Sarah had told him she was going to a real estate conference in the next city. Instead of his usual routine, Marcus came downstairs at 6 p.m. with a folder full of documents and a calm smile on his face. "Sarah, we need to talk." The look of panic that crossed her face was immediate. She knew. Somehow, she knew her perfect plan was about to crumble. Marcus spread the evidence across their dining room table like he was laying out a winning poker hand. Bank statements showing every fraudulent transfer, screenshots of text messages, photos from David's social media showing him and Sarah at romantic locations, and finally the forged loan documents. "I know about David," Marcus said calmly. "I know about the money you've been stealing. I know about your plan to take half of everything after the girls graduate. And I know about the loan you forged my signature on. Sarah tried to lie, tried to explain, tried to turn it around on him. But Marcus held up his hand. I've already filed for divorce. I've already reported the fraud to the bank and the police. And I've already had David served with papers for his role in the fraudulent loan. But here's the beautiful part. The absolutely perfect revenge, because Sarah had forged Marcus's signature on that business loan, and because the loan was now in default thanks to David's failing business, the bank was foreclosing. But since their house was used as collateral illegally, Marcus had grounds to not only avoid the debt, but to sue both Sarah and David for damages. Sarah's affair had cost her everything. The divorce settlement she'd been planning on, gone because of the fraud charges. The house she thought she'd get half of, Marcus kept it. The children. The court awarded Marcus primary custody because Sarah had been using family funds for her affair. And David, his business collapsed under the legal fees and bad publicity. The man Sarah thought she'd be set for life with couldn't even pay his own rent. The revenge was absolutely perfect. Sarah's own greed and deception had been turned against her in the most poetic way possible. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting mad, it's getting smart. Marcus could have confronted Sarah the moment he suspected something. He could have let his emotions take over and made mistakes that would have cost him dearly. Instead, he played the long game. He used his skills, his patience, and Sarah's own overconfidence against her. And in the end, justice was served in the most satisfying way possible. What do you think? Was Marcus's revenge justified? Have you ever had to deal with betrayal like this? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story of perfect revenge, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more dramatic bedtime stories. Trust me, I've got plenty more tales of cheaters getting exactly what they deserve. Sweet dreams, everyone.